a dark skin mauve of color, oh yeah. The mauve of color, oh yeah. Yeah, how she move with a style and make you stay a while.
So what is up, Africana fam? It's your girl, Young Africana, back at it again with another banger. And y'all, this is going to be super fun because it's not going to be your typical makeup tutorial. We're going to be doing a girl chat. We're going to be doing a chit chat, get ready with me. So this is not really a tutorial, just guys are just going to hear me talk and do my makeup, which I'm super excited about because it just alleviates tension for me. And I really, y'all, I pray that I'm actually able to multitask because I suck at multitasking. So this is going to be a challenge, but a fun challenge. I already went ahead and filled in my eyebrows because for the life of me, I cannot talk and do my eyebrows at the same time. I'm gonna try the next time, but I just wanted to just cut out all the noise and just do what I gotta do, okay? But without further ado, let's get into this girl chat. So yeah, I've been fiending. I don't know if y'all know how long I've actually been wanting to do like girl chats. I just never knew what exactly I wanted to talk about because it's hard. Like, I want to talk about stuff that actually really does matter to me and resonates to me. And right now, as a 26-year-old, I am not only just trying to find myself, but also to a potential partner. You feel me? Like, we're trying to be cuffed out here in these streets. And although I have not been an active pedestrian, I've definitely been just a little innocent bystander in these dating streets. I have learned a couple of things about just dating and also just self-love, y'all. So I'm going to tap into that. I'm going to be like fake listing. Let me not say fake. I feel like that's just the New Yorker in me. We'd be like, oh, like fake something, but whatever. I'm going to be like slightly listing the things that I'm going to be using, but I'm just going to be just doing my makeup and talking to y'all, okay? We're going to let's act as if like we're on FaceTime. This is a FaceTime call, so you probably asked me a couple of times like, oh, what you using? But that's about it. Like we just ended it there. We're not doing a full-blown tutorial. But y'all, like I said, I have been just a little innocent bystander in these dating streets, but I feel like I've definitely learned a lot. And honestly, one of the main things that I have learned is that you need to center yourself and decenter men when you are dating men or dating anyone, depending on your preference, right? And I feel like a lot of us, well, at least I was definitely struggling with doing that, to be honest. And this is just how, like, I guess naturally, you know, when you're feeling someone, you want to be all in, and that's deadass okay. But logic first, feelings second. So I know a lot of people would just be like, oh, dating just feels like it's a game. Like, there's all these rules and all these regulations, and I get it to a certain extent. For me, how I am now trying to approach dating, which I didn't before, was just centered around like, I don't know these people and I'm not about to be changing my schedule around to appease anyone. So if I got something planned and you just so happen to be free and you wanted to meet me then, sorry, I can't accommodate that because first of all, I just met you. You haven't proven to me that you are worth the time of me moving my schedule around. Because one thing I have noticed, guys don't lose their social life when they get into relationships. A lot of times, it be the girls that lose their social lives once they get into relationships. Guys are really good at like balancing their life still and still making time for things that they want to do while still having a girlfriend, versus a girlfriend or a woman in general is just used to ditching everyone and anybody just for the man. And we need to stop that, please. Let's be guided, y'all, and let's stop doing that because these guys are not doing that. And I'm not saying that you have to sit down there and match people's energy, but in the same breath, you do. However somebody is treating you, whatever they put out, you put back in. You should not be overcompensating for somebody's lack thereof. You don't know these people. These people have not earned your trust. Trust is earned, and with that comes the privileges. As a person, you should always meet them at 0, never 100 or negative. It should always be at 0. It's neutral. You should always come into something with a neutral mind with high hopes but very low expectations. And that is one thing that I have honestly learned while dating. All right, y'all, and now I'm gonna go ahead and prime my face with the Milk Hydrogrip primer. And this goes on to point number 2, which should have really been number 1, is that you guys should be entering dating with a sense of self. Y'all, please know yourself, because I'm telling you, this is a dog eat dog world that you are entering in. These dating streets are not for the weak. And if you don't know yourself, you will literally fall for everything. Really get to sit down, sit in yourself, sit to know yourself, sit to get to know yourself, and love sitting by yourself. I'm not saying that's going to be comfortable, because it's not. Because honestly, being single isn't all the way comfortable. I'm not going front. Like, there'll be many times where I'm sitting down there and I'm just like, dang, it would be really nice to be in a relationship. That would be beautiful. But I have not met the right person for me to be in one. And this is from me knowing myself, knowing what I want, how I want my partner to treat me, and all those things. And right now I am going to go in with my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer to blot out my pores. But yeah, please have a sense of self, because honestly, energetically, people could feel when you don't know yourself or you don't know your boundaries. I felt like for the longest, I thought I knew what I wanted, but in reality, I had no clue what I wanted, or the things that I did want was hurt me and trauma me of what I wanted in a relationship, when in reality, those things didn't necessarily really matter to me. I feel like now that I have gone through experiences of what I will and will not tolerate in the dating scene, or just from my partner, period, or from myself, or what I'm not going to accept from anyone, I feel like it's definitely weeded a lot of bad weeds. And unfortunately, with getting to know yourself, not gonna lie to you, you're gonna be lonely. You're going to be lonely AF. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It gets lonely on the side because you're sifting through so many bad weeds. There's not that many flowers in the cracks. It is very hard to find flowers inside of these street cracks. But one of the things that I definitely do recommend is really getting a journal, writing down the things that you want in your partner, like from physical to emotional to how they treat you to even your triggers and how you handle them as well too. Like, I really suggest anybody to get a journal and write all these things down and really memorize it. Spelling is a spell, and all the things that I have written down in my journal has come to fruition somehow, some way, or has brought light to something that I wasn't necessarily aware of until I put it down on paper. And overall, it's just really dope to see your growth over the years of the things you don't want changing to the things you probably do want or you don't mind, and the things that you thought you did want turning into the things that you do not want at all. So if you want to see yourself grow, document it. But tapping back into the logic now and feelings later part that I brought up, I really want people to start really investigating how they feel around people. And although that may not be on the logical side, the logic does come in, right? I feel like a lot of times us as women, we do get wrapped up in the idea of a person. And one thing that has honestly helped me in regards of just dating or, you know, wanting to get to know someone is honestly not fantasizing about them. Like, for me, I'm a very visual person, so it's really easy for me to sit down there and fantasize, like, oh my gosh, this guy, he is so handsome. I could see us in like a Range Rover with like a dog and 2 kids. And although those things sound amazing, right? And it sounds so good to think about, you don't know this man. You don't know him, babes. You don't know him. You don't know him from a can of paint or whatever they be saying. But not really though. A lot of us don't be knowing these people, right? And we be curating these versions of people in our head, thinking that that's exactly how they're going to come out. And I think that's the main cause as to why there's a lot of disappointment in the dating game, is because we just be making up stories about people that we don't know of. And when they don't match our storyline, it's like, cut, next caller. And although, yes, do that because, okay, maybe something probably did tick you off about him, but you wouldn't have been so surprised, or it wouldn't have been so abrupt if you didn't create that version of him. Like, I feel like because I know nothing about you, let me not say you're nothing to me, but for lack of better words, you are nothing to me. You don't hold a place in my life for me to do anything, because I don't have any information on you, which is why we should be approaching dating as collecting data. It's not for catching feelings. Catching feelings is when he decides to commit and be like, you know, I want you to be my girl. I want to, I guess, give a title to what we are doing now, you know? Until then, you're single AF. You are single AF. You have no man. That is not your man, your man, your man. Okay? And that should just be that. And I feel like me approaching it that way has allowed me to not catch any feelings, but also to allow me to talk to multiple people, because there are no investments in this. I'm literally creating conversation with people that I don't know in hopes of getting to know them and getting to know them. That's it. It's not getting to know them for marriage, because I don't even know if that person even wants marriage. Shit, I don't even know if I want marriage. I'm lying. I do. I do. But nonetheless, you don't know these people for you to be creating these images and these fantasies about who they are when they have not showed you anything that aligns with that. And like, lastly, to add to this before I move on to the next point, is that this really just helps you like stay present. Really decentering the idea of the man, and more so just about your wants and your needs of what you need in a relationship, really helps you stay centered about what that person is giving you versus the potential that you created in your head of what you think he should give you. So y'all, stay present, especially during your dates. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I feel like staying present on your dates really honestly puts a lot of into perspective. I feel like a lot of times, because you've created this persona about this person, you miss out on key elements or even red flags about things that you normally wouldn't let slide with the guy that you have no interest in. But because you do, the red flags is looking real light pink. One advice that I heard from TikTok was like, does this person make you feel seen, safe, and heard? And if one of these are missing, he gotta go. He gotta go, because that's not your person. You want your person to be able to not only see you, but hear you and make you feel safe. Because I feel like a lot of us women, we fall in love with words, right? But we don't, the actions don't be there or be reciprocated. And we miss out on that because we're so caught up on words. And yes, believe what somebody does tell you, but when the actions don't match up to it, question it immediately, expeditiously at that. Now, another point that I wanted to get into when centering yourself in your life and decentering men in your dating is that you should text men like your older sister. And when I heard this and she explained this, I forgot the creator's name, but she's on TikTok. I was just scrolling, and when I heard it, literally it opened up, like I feel like it opened up like my brain. Like I felt my brain open up, and my perspective has changed forever. Okay, so she said text your person or text the person you're dating as if you are texting your sister. So what that means is that she was like, you shouldn't be over psychoanalyzing what you sent or what you're about to text the person. When you're texting your sister, you're not thinking about, oh, if what I'm about to say is gonna piss my sister off. You just text it and it's really straight to the point. You're not over here adding fluff to it or trying to make them feel good or just doing a lot of overcompensating. You get straight to the point. You send a message. You don't think about the message when you send it, and even after you send it, you put the phone down. And I'm like, yo, that makes so much sense. Because I feel like a lot of times when we do feel like we like someone, which most times we don't, I feel when most times you like someone, you like the idea of someone, right? You tend to like just be on it like 24/7, and not for nothing, energy is real. People could pick up on that even through text message. So although you probably like, oh, but you know, I want to play games and this and that and that, babes, they could feel that you're on their body, okay? And they shouldn't have to feel that way. It should just feel like, okay, like it's not forced. It's not like you're overdoing something, because when you're overdoing something within that same coexistence, something is underperforming, which is most likely the other party. So you want to be able to meet here and not be here and he's here. If this person is really your person, you shouldn't have to be over second, triple, quadruple checking if what you said was the right thing that you said, or you're cringing about what you said. Because we don't cringe when we're texting our friends like, oh, we shouldn't have said that. So why should you do that with this person? This is literally just another person. It's just you just so happen to be dating them. Now, y'all, this next take might be a very unpopular opinion, but I feel like once I like got the grips of it and like really understood it for what it was, I'm like, okay, this actually makes sense. And in all honesty, all things do take time. Now, I know a lot of people be like, oh, if this person isn't trying to be serious with you in the next 48 hours, you should dub him. And I feel like everyone should come in with set intentions, right? But in life, honestly, even within a lot of our friendships, the depth grew within time. Like trees don't grow, or the roots don't just go down deeper like over a day. Like Rome was not built in a day. Like it takes time to build these connections, or these genuine connections, right? And I feel like we should be able to apply that within our romantic relationships. Although there is a level of intentionality that should be put inside of these relationships, which I am not condemning at all, because who wants to be sitting on there second guessing if a person likes you or not? But also too, I feel like a lot of us have a tendency of rushing things. And timing is everything. Timing is everything. Timing is divine. It's not about the what, it's really about when it happens. And I feel like a lot of times we haven't worked through a lot of traumas to be fully ready for a healthy relationship. Like the idea of a healthy relationship sounds nice, but the work and the time put into it is what scares a lot of us. Even scares me, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So although I do believe that we should be intentional with our dating, still allow the love to grow fonder as time progresses, but still be able to pace the relationship. So again, it's really like a balance, y'all. I'm not gonna front. Like, we should be able to pace the relationship where you're like, okay, you know, I know what I want, he know what he want. Okay, you don't know what you want. Let's take a break. Let's like, you calling those shots, especially as a woman, and just knowing your worth of what you want and what you don't want, right? In a relationship, those things are definitely necessary, but I feel like good things do take time. I just want people to know themselves enough, or I want myself to know myself enough before I sit down there and say I want to do forever with someone. And a lot of that takes work, and even too, a lot of those healings or working through those traumas honestly has to happen even during the relationship. You're not going to come into somebody's life fully healed, but you should be able to do your due diligence to make sure you handle most of your load, so your load doesn't feel like it's a burden. Now onto contour. I am going to go ahead and use my Milk contour stick, and this is in the color Spaced. And I'm just going to go ahead and go against my nose highlight and use a angle brush just to kind of like, you know, shape it out. But overall, I just been learning that, you know, within dating, how I used to approach dating back then was a lot different than how I do now. And before, it was really much so guy-centered. I feel like I had a really tough time, not tough time, but I just didn't grow to understand that dating is really and truly to get to know me, right? I feel like we kind of get in the notion of like, oh, I want to date because I want someone to show my love. And although all those things are correct, you do want to be able to show your love to people, but it's all about having self-love, right? And back then, because I wasn't really working on myself, I was just like, you know, I've had enough time being single. Let me just put myself out there, and didn't really do the necessary work to actually get to know myself and really what I want in a partner, and then also just what I want in life, period, for myself, and how I want my life to look like. Like, there were a lot of red flags that I let go over my head, or I entertained for too long, just because I didn't know myself. And it is very necessary to do that work and figuring out what you truly want out of life, out of your relationships, out of your career, out of all these things. And I'm not saying that you have to have all these things figured out, because these things will change over time, right? But I generally do believe that you do have to have a huge sense of self. And also just self as in respect, like respect for yourself. Like, and a lot of that comes with speaking up or turning things down, even though you are yearning for a relationship, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are in a relationship just to say that they're in a relationship, and that ain't good. That ain't good. And I don't want to be that. I don't want that for my life. I don't see that for my life, because in general, how I see my life, if I choose to have children, I want my children to be like, wow, I want a relationship like how my mom and dad has a relationship. Like, I want to love myself, or I want my partner to love on me like how my dad loves my mom, or vice versa, you know? Like, I really want that for myself. And when you know better, you do better. I can't sit down there and ignore the information I learned, not only about myself, but just about how to navigate the dating scene, just because I'm desperate. Because most times when you're desperate, you make horrible decisions. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set my face with my foundation press powder, actually. And this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Powder. And this is in the color 375. And I'm going to go ahead and use my powder puff just to set all the places that I went ahead and highlighted at. So I'm just going to go ahead and double check underneath my eyes to make sure I don't have any creases. And I am going to go ahead and go for like a spring type look. So I definitely want to tap into some pinks on my eyeshadow. But back to the dating topic, right? Again, we are dating to figure ourselves out and overall center ourselves and figure out ourselves and decenter men. And this does not mean that we hate men. This does not mean that they're insignificant to us. It's just more about we are not changing around our lives for people that have not done the same for us. And even if they have, right? That doesn't mean that you go ahead and do it too, especially if you don't feel that same way. Like, it's all about really knowing yourself and what you truly are looking for in a relationship. Somebody could present themselves to you and do all these things, but that still isn't your person. And we shouldn't be going with just the first option that pops up just because you feel like you're running out of time. Again, it runs back into circles of doing things out of desperation. And what do we say about choices that we make when we are doing things out of desperation? Most times they are horrible choices because it's rushed. You know, you're not considering factors you would if you were more cognizant, more present, but also just more in tune with yourself. When you're desperate, all other sensors are off. That's one thing that I have noticed when there has been times where I am desperate. I am not fully analyzing the situation for what it is, but it's just more driven out of ego of what I want and what I need at the moment. When in reality, what I probably need and want at that moment is probably opposite from that. And I'm literally using the wrong ways to cope with a certain situation or with a certain feeling. So really learning how to self-regulate your feelings, and also understanding that two things could be true at once. Like, there's nuance in life. We should not be thinking very absolutist and like, oh, if I'm single, then this is terrible. Like, you know, although two things can exist at once, which is again the yin and the yang. There's duality in everything. Like, I feel this way, but this still exists, and that's okay. Like, still learning to be acceptant and accept yourself, Because the truth is, like, don't ever let nobody gaslight you and tell you that you should just focus on yourself. Like, if you are yearning for a relationship, clearly that feeling is coming in for a reason. Whether it be just you being codependent or you truly wanting some form of companionship or both. Shit. Like, like there's so many reasons to why somebody wants companionship, but the first thing you shouldn't run to is like, well, you should be comfortable with yourself. Yes, that is true to a certain extent, but y'all, we are humans. Let's stop thinking in this capitalist mindset, this individualistic mindset. People thrive better with other people, and it's okay to want companionship. It's just the ways you go about it that makes it look a little crazy. Like, that could make you look a little desperate. I'm not going to front. And again, energy does not lie. So people could catch on when you are making desperate moves. All right. Okay. It's 2024. We need to stop using buzzwords with the wrong definition, y'all. I am tired of hearing people talk about boundaries and not know what a boundary actually is. So y'all, we're gonna do a little demonstration, okay? We are actually going to do a little demonstration. All right, this is me. Boundaries can be physical and also intellectual, depending on which one you want it, right? So if we are creating a physical boundary around us, this is my boundary. Who is in the boundary? I'll wait. It's you. It's only you in the boundary. So whatever boundaries you make should only be for you. It shouldn't be actions that your partner does outside of you. Those are rules, okay? Let's stop using boundaries and buzzwords for the fun of it and actually know the real meaning behind it, because you saying you don't like your partner talking to other people outside of you is not a boundary. It's a rule, okay? Now, what you could say is, I do not tolerate people gaslighting me. That is a boundary because it is directly affecting you. If there are any third parties that are, again, doing these actions outside of you, but you still feel a way, these are not boundaries. It does not directly affect you. And you can't control people what they can and cannot do outside of you. Those are not boundaries. Those are rules you've made in your relationship. Now, I do believe that rules should be respected, right? But these things do have to be talked about, because a lot of times people don't express their feelings. A lot of people don't express their feelings, and we be thinking that people should just know better, right? And although I am all in agreement of not letting people play in your face, of course, but within reason, right? We have to communicate these things. And then if they don't listen, now you could go ahead and do whatever you got to do. Whatever that is, you got to do. All right, babe. So now on to blush. I am going to be using my JUVIA'S Blush Rouge Volume 5 palette, and this is like a nice pretty pink. Again, we're doing like a springtimey type of vibe, so I do want to go into the light pink and add my blush on my cheeks. Not for nothing, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I am like halfway feeling my makeup. I like it, but then again, I don't. But we'll see. I like to wait until the end, because most of the times if I feel like my makeup is looking crazy, that means that my about to be fire. Okay, my makeup is about to be fire. That's exactly what that means. So I'm pushing through all the way to the end. But back to dating. Back to dating, babes. But overall, all the rules, all the things, and all of the strategies that you create, right, for dating, because you do have to come in with a strategy. Don't let these people come in bamboozling you and just tell you, oh, just go with the flow. Like, do you go with the flow with your job? Do you go with the flow when it comes to planning your money for a trip? You don't. It's, again, all these things are planned. Let's be intentional. Now, I did go ahead and prep my eyelids with like an eyeshadow base off camera, and now I'm gonna go into my JACLYN Hill Volume 2 palette, and I'm really debating on what I want to use as my crease color. I think I want to go into the color I'm between Crazy and Next. I feel like Next is more of a lighter, like more of like a mauve red. I don't know. I have no idea, but we gonna do something. We gotta do something. But funny enough, I feel like this entire topic really is just about learning how to not over invest into something or to someone that has not given you any impression, or honestly basic impressions, that they want to invest back into you. Not necessarily that they want you, because anybody could want you, right? But a lot of people won't invest in you, which is their time, their energy, overall, just the little things in life that honestly makes our world go round when it is done for us. I feel like you really do have to approach this dating world with the idea of, let me not say people are here to play games, but essentially there are a lot of players in these games, right? And that's like a double entendre, where it's like, this is a game, low key. You just have to learn how to play it correctly. And as much as I know we hate to hear that, like, but it shouldn't be a game, it shouldn't be a game. And you're right, it shouldn't be. In a perfect world, it should not. But we also have to be cognizant and realize what's really actually going on in this world, right? Where it's like, it's a numbers game, you guys. It's a numbers game. And honestly, the more numbers you got, the more probabilities you are to attract something, right? Like, that's just how it goes, bro. Like, we don't make the rules, unfortunately. And again, when you're working on yourself, none of these things really are considered as games, because this person hasn't invested in you for you to be head over heels about them, you know? Or really just shown time and time again. And I think that's the issue that a lot of us approach, is that, you know, we deal with some timey people, but because you're probably not used to the idea of like people just showing up for you in general, just that little breadcrumb they drop of them showing up for you in a way, it's just like, oh, finally, like, it's like I finally got to eat something. And that's what narcissistic people do. They breadcrumb you and give you little crumbs of things, when in reality you are deserving of the whole loaf. And remember that you are definitely deserving of the whole entire loaf. And we need to start moving that way. We need to move as if we already got loaves of bread just hanging around with us, and say, I don't need your stinking crumb, you wanker. I don't need it. Sorry if I be going back and forth with like my little British accent. I really have a severe issue. And I feel like in a past life, I was born in the UK. I was a Bridgerton babe. Sorry, I don't make the rules. I just, yeah, okay. I'm getting distracted and not doing my makeup. So let's actually do my makeup now. See, I'm tight. I use Crazy, and Crazy is a little crazy on my eyes. So I really want to go ahead and diffuse that. And I'm trying to think of what I want to diffuse it with, to be honest, because it's not that many options here. All right, so we're going to go into G Money, which is like this brown. And we're really just going to go ahead and blend out those edges, because this needs to be blended out. And I'm just going to go ahead and use a tapping motion just to blend it out. But in general, the best way to get the best results is to approach it as such. This is not in no way for you to sit down there and play games with people, but it is for you to protect yourself and guard your heart, because when you show too much or you show your hand too soon, people are going to think you're stupid. Then that's really as harsh as that sounds, y'all, that's really what it is. And I'm speaking from experience, right? Luckily I ain't get dogged out here, right? And it's not gonna happen. We're not even proclaiming or professing that, but there was definitely a lot of potential times where it could have happened to me, because I wasn't moving tact. Like, I just wasn't moving tactical at all when it came to dating. And, you know, I wanted to be this honest person that shared this and then and that, but also too, again, people are going to look at you like you're crazy when you give them something that they know that they're not even deserving of. Like, for example, information about you that you're like, oh, by the way, I've never told anyone this before, but you know, this and that and that happened to me. Like just automatically just kind of like trauma dumping all of your worries and your concerns and your deepest fears on the first date can come off as alarming. And also very much so, I don't have to do much or invest into her as much for me to get the most vulnerable side of her. And believe it or not, the most vulnerable side of you, low-key, is your coochie. It is the cooch. I'm not gonna lie to you, babes. We need to start speaking for what it is. P-power is a real thing and it runs the world, and we need to start moving as such. We need to start moving militant. It is indeed power. And also too, low-key, when you are feeling someone and you tend to give it up and they dog you, you're a lot more hurt. You are definitely more hurt than you would be if you didn't, because you invested something that usually you wouldn't give to just anyone. So y'all, make sure that when you are talking to these young men's or women's, that they took time to invest in you. And I'm not talking about a sponsor, but really and truly, like, invest in your wellness, making sure that you're good, not just on a financial level, but on a mental and spiritual level. Because I'm telling you, those intimate moments, whether it be sex or intimacy outside of sex, it means a lot more when you both have created an emotional bond together versus when you haven't. Like, it don't hit. It don't hit. I'm sorry. That's my own personal opinion, but to each his own. And again, you are entitled to your body, of course. I'm speaking about it from my own personal point of view, and you don't have to take it. All right, y'all. So I am going to go into my JUVIA'S Place the Sweet Pinks palette, and I'm just going to use this really pink shade right here. It's not really picking up on camera how I want it to, but it's a really pretty pink. So, and it's definitely giving springtime. But honestly, enough about the dating part of it, because I feel like although the dating part of it is important of how to navigate the dating world, you won't be able to navigate it without knowing yourself and loving yourself, y'all. And in this life journey, I have learned that, y'all, we have so many depths and layers to us that we are never done working with ourselves. Even if we think we are, we are not. We are not done with this until the day we die. And it's so important to really know thyself and know what you stand for, who you stand for, and why you stand for it. And again, a lot of times of me approaching these, I guess, dating prospects, I don't even want to call it prospects for real, but I guess the opportunity to date, you know, when you create these certain rules for yourself or just these certain boundaries for yourself, who are you doing it for? What is your why? And we need to really start investigating our whys, because most times if you're falling for something, or if you are catching yourself going back into cycles that you know that isn't right for you, you've been there, done that, graduated from that, but you still catch yourself falling into, I guess, temptation, right? Not to get biblical on y'all, but I guess falling into temptation or certain vices that you know that, like, it doesn't lead anywhere good, especially knowing the kind of person that you are. Most times when you do that, your why isn't big enough. Not for nothing. That's one of my observations of what I've peeped whenever I caught myself, in a sense, falling back into old habits. It's like, okay, why am I doing this? And clearly my why isn't big enough for me to even be doing it, or it's not reasonable enough. Let me not say reasonable enough. My feeling is valid, but the action of it is not. Like, I should not be acting out on my feelings. I can feel these things, but that doesn't mean that I have to act on these things. And most of the times it's just because I'm not thinking of the bigger picture at that moment, or I'm not thinking about the why at that moment, or what I'm building towards too. All right, y'all, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just line or tight line my waterline with a black pencil. But overall, one of the things that has really helped me in regards of the self-love process and really just loving myself and loving on myself, I would definitely will have to say is learning how to talk to myself positively, even if I have done something stupid. A lot of times I've never noticed how mean my inner dialogue was until it started manifesting outwards, right? Most times when you have negative dialogue within yourself or with yourself, when you're talking about yourself to other people, it comes out. Like, say for example, I'm talking to someone right now, whatever, and I drop something. I'm like, oh, I'm such a fucking dumbass. You just dropped something by accident. Why are you calling yourself a dumbass? And I've noticed those little inner dialogues on top of other people also pointing it out as well too. And that's really made me like, oh, yeah, I need to fix that. Where it's just like, okay, I need to start being nicer to myself. And like, it sounds cliche and it sounds like, oh, what do you mean by being nicer to yourself? Like, really and truly, like, honestly, every single time I do something, whether big or small, I will sit down there and say, yo, I'm dead ass proud of you, Viv. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, for getting up and doing that one crunch. Or for you for just simply getting up, you know, depending on the day, whether if it's quote unquote productive or not. But really and truly, take the time to get to talk to yourself and hear yourself. When you do the smallest things that may be an inconvenience, what are you telling yourself? Whether if it was your fault or not. So I am going to go ahead and do the rest of the eyes off camera and I'm going to be right back. All right, y'all. So I went ahead and put on my lashes and now it is on to the lips. So I am going to be using a black lip liner first and I'm going to like overline my lips. And then I'm going to go ahead and top that with my Fenty liquid lipstick in the color Breadwinner. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and use my lip gloss. This is my NYX lip gloss in the color Vanilla Cream Pie. And now I'm about to go ahead and set my face with my Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. Go ahead and top that with the one size. When it comes to the self-love journey as well too, really learning how to regulate my emotions and understanding that although I'm entitled to how I feel, that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to act on it, nor do I. Every single time that I go through an internal conflict, the first thing I do is check in with myself. And I feel like checking in with myself allows me to like really investigate what's going on. Like, y'all know the saying how people just be like, oh, it's not the situation, it's the principle, right? So most times I already have in the back of my mind that, yo, it's not really the situation that's getting me tight. It's something deeper than that. The conflict that you usually go through is between your old self and your higher self, from what I personally believe. I feel like most times you've learned these new coping mechanisms that sometimes your old you just tries to come in and kind of goes back to like factory reset mode. And it's just like, no, we move past from that. You can't remove your past from you. So the best way to navigate it is just honor your old self, but also understand that you can't maneuver in life with your old habits. So I always ask myself, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And most times it's probably an old wound or a wound that I thought I closed, but clearly I didn't really deep dive into it. And we go from there. So honoring your feelings and not suppressing them or gaslighting yourself as if like you're the problem, because you're not. The problems are usually just the issues that you have gone through that has caused you to think a certain way. So I just always try to give myself grace in those situations. Just to wrap up this girl talk is that in the name of love, You have to learn how to love yourself unconditionally before you love someone else, because how you love someone else is only a reflection of how you love you. But overall, ladies and gents, these are the final results. I hope y'all enjoyed this girl chat. It was super fun. I definitely do want to be doing more girl chat, so go ahead and comment down below what girl chat topics you guys want to talk about. Just name all the things that you guys want me to do. And you guys love this look, and when I say love, I mean love. First of all, go ahead and comment down a pink heart. Secondly, go ahead and give this video a like, a big fat thumbs up so it could get out in these algorithm streets, and also get out to your edges. I promise you, your edges are gonna love this once you give this video a like, right? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.